As we eagerly await the very first gameplay trailer of Pokemon Legends EA, it's got me thinking about previous Pokemon trailers and oh my gosh, what the heck is that? I mean, we see the little disclaimer at the bottom of the screen all the time, stating that the product shown is a work in progress. But as I've also been looking back and realizing just how different movie trailers can be versus the final product, I kind of wanted to do the same thing with Pokemon. Now for the most part, early gameplay previews seem pretty close to the final product of the older games, but in the 3D era things are a bit different, especially considering that a lot of the trailer footage are things that only the developers can capture by moving the camera wherever they want. And sometimes a trailer is mostly PNGs of the new characters or Pokemon bursting onto the scene to build up hype. So with Pokemon X and Y being their first games to go with a worldwide release, I think that's a great place to start, especially because it's what made me want to look at these trailers at all. I am only going to be looking at the first trailer for each game and not every little 30-second update to announce that Scarlet existed, because I think it is most interesting to see start to end. Anyway, yeah, Pokemon X and Y was mostly gameplay from various fixed camera perspectives, which is just about what we got in the final product. But dude, the shot of Route 3 is absolutely disgusting. Like, it's so zoomed out to the point that you can see where the cliffs on the right cut off. Normally it would be a bit closer to the top-down perspective that it uses most of the time. In the final game, there are also a few more trees along this route, making it feel more complete. When you see all the other overworld footage in this trailer, it's actually all areas that use different angles for cinematic effect. Route 3 should be pretty standard, but I think they changed it just for the trailer so that the game looked more impressive than it was in terms of camera, maybe? I really doubt that this was meant to be the final perspective for this route from the beginning because of how the cliff at the right just cuts off. Those are just my thoughts. Well, moving on to Pokemon Sun and Moon, the first look we got was actually just about perfectly representative of the first hour of gameplay, aside from the legendary Pokemon, but yeah, all the environments and camera angles were exactly the same. With Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, the reveal trailer was actually pretty short, being one of those unexpected announcements that just turned out to be, yeah, we're doing this again, some things are different, but we'll tell you those later. Though from what I can tell, everything looks about as good as Sun and Moon did. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee utilized a little live action and animation intro before diving into gameplay. Really interesting during the battle taking place on Nugget Bridge. The bridge itself actually runs right into the mountain. It should go a little further and you should be able to see the end of it, but instead the mountain ridge is closer than it should be. Kinda crazy they left that in the trailer because it actually does look bad when you point it out. Aside from that, the gameplay looks good and even the lighting is just about the same. There wouldn't be too many layout differences anyway with this being a remake. On to Pokemon Sword and Shield, we actually have quite a few things to talk about. This trailer is one that places the camera in unconventional locations in order to give us a good look at some of the new landscapes. However, NPCs and wild Pokemon are nowhere to be seen. Locations like Route 4 just look so wrong without anything there because I remember it being somewhat busy. We get some more different angles that wouldn't normally be possible, and then we get into shots following the player character walking through some of the cities and routes. Again, they're the only humans we see and there should definitely be some NPCs. And then right before jumping into a battle, we again don't have any Pokemon in the overworld. I don't believe this was a later addition, but maybe they were just left out to save the surprise for a later date. While Sword and Shield still had some random encounters, most of the Pokemon were visible from the overworld. The battle scene has a few differences, like the textures of a mountain and some trees moved around, but later trailers would be even more accurate. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, ooh boy. I feel like these were the games everybody was carefully dissecting every trailer for, because these were definitely not the visuals we had expected, and maybe there was a lot of copium it would eventually look better, and yeah, it did. Not only is there some new lighting to make it look a lot softer and fit the art style, but the opening scene is completely different, probably because it was under the most scrutiny. The final top-down angle is closer, making it feel less empty, but legitimately the room is just an entirely different room. Yeah, it is still based on the original, but the first trailer looks like it was really trying to be faithful in the modeling, even though it did look basic. The final game looks a lot more modern while still evoking the same feelings. The encounter animation has the camera set farther back, and doesn't do the little zoom into the wild Pokemon roaring or something like it would in the final product, and of course the background is different here and there. I honestly think these are some of the most changed not only from the first trailer to the final release, but even from trailer to trailer things changed here and there, no doubt because it was the first Pokemon project of this scale that ILCA had worked on. Pokemon Legends Arceus had a first trailer filled with a lot of sweeping shots that can't exactly be replicated, but things look about right aside from minor graphical tweaks. The interesting things are what we don't see, like when the player is running through Jubilife Village, none of the villagers can be seen, and when they're out in the field, none of the layouts appear on screen. There's a chance they weren't finished yet, but also a chance they were intentionally removed to be revealed at a later date, because otherwise we would see all the Pokeball options, the reticle, the Pokedex update, and everything else. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet basically uses only footage captured with different angles, hardly showing any actual gameplay, though everything is captured in-engine. The point is that this makes it difficult to evaluate and compare to the final game, but aside from minor graphical changes and the fact that there's no lag in the trailer, they look about the same. There's also footage of Mesagoza where there are even NPCs walking around, so at least it doesn't feel as empty as previous trailers. Well, except for this one sweeping shot where they cleared everybody out, possibly to hide their frame drops that can be seen from a distance. And that was a little look back at the initial trailers for every 3D Pokemon game. Again, I decided to focus only on them because that's when the full trailers started to become more commonly posted online, the worldwide releases united everything, and also when the differences were most visible. Again, Route 3 from Kalos really sticks out to me and it's the one I remember the most, but it was really interesting to see just how many of those cases there were. So let me know what you think in the comments below and which Pokemon game you think was the most improved from when we first got to see gameplay compared to the completed version. Personally, I think the answer is Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Not my favorites, but definitely the ones that visually changed the most and for the better. Anyway, it's about time I get back to waiting for any kind of news of the future of the franchise. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, including the Great Gators, Alex with Shiny Hunts, Tyler Hopper, Lockadox, Koi13, Cemetery Hill, Cosmo Zero, Rainfrux, Cheez-It62, Gator Kid 509, TF, Mathaclog 947, Taijirai, Justin R, Phantom, and Quago. If you would like to support, see your name here, get access to emotes for comments, live streams, sometimes early videos, and our monthly members only podcast, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky as well for more memes. Anyway, this is Gatarax, and I'll catch you all later.